So about 5 minutes before the all-in, I'm filming you on my chest cam, trying to avoid the wind, so hopefully you can hear me. I've sort of hid my mic behind my top a bit, so maybe the sound's still getting through to you, but it'll be, hopefully it's defending you from the wind a little bit. If it's not, there's not a lot I can do about that. As you can see, the wind is straight in my face, which may not be a bad thing, because it's a nice warm day, and hopefully some fish will come down to this corner. So you join me on peg 26 on Acorn. It is the penultimate round of the Spring League. I'm just tightening my hat up because I feel like the wind might blow it off at some point. I don't want to be messing about with that. I'm not particularly happy with my draw. I feel like I'm not my section today. I'm the end peg on my section. So the gentleman you can see in front of me, he's not in my section, but there's a gentleman to my right who is. And everybody all the way down this straight to my right is in my section, bar the one at the end. And the way that Acorn's been fishing recently tends to suggest that the pegs the other side of the bridge to my right are going to be the ones that frame, because they've been that win this section, because they've been framing in the open matches, so they should be the best pegs. But Acorn's Acorn, and we've had it before where anything can happen, so we're just going to go for it. The wind is could be working in my favour, but could make fishing tricky. So I've set up a line across to fish for anything with micros and expanders. I've set up a line really, really short to fish for anything with maggots, because it's so windy. I don't feel like I can throw very far today, so it's literally a top kit and a short number 4, and I shall feed it reasonably heavy and just look to pick up odd fish if I can't get a bite anywhere. I'm going to start short to me right with our pellet 6mm just to see what I can catch in the first sort of 10 minutes. I've got a method feeder for down to this margin. I've got a long margin here to my left. I'll spin around, hopefully you can see that. That margin goes all the way around, and I can fish all the way up to that platform. So just down there where that pipe is, just to the left of that a little bit. I'm hoping you can pick it up on the camera, but there's a pipe just sticking out of the water there. I've got a method feeder down to there. I could fish a pole down to there, but with this side wind coming across and it's forecast to get windier, I don't want to be holding 14.5 metres in a side wind and trying to hook a fish from there, then trying to get the pole back behind me. It's going to be chaos, and breaking the pole or just working hard. So what I might do is ping some pellets down there sort of half an hour before I start thinking about I'm going to go on it. So there's just fish in the area, and then just flick a method feeder over, and hopefully I'll nick a couple doing that. And then shorter on this long edge to my, I don't know if you can see my hand in the camera, but shorter on the long edge down here, I've just cut away some of the vegetation because you can do a bit of gardening here. I've got an edge line there. If fish turn up on either of those, then I should stand a chance of getting good section points, because that's really what I need. I need the fish to be in this corner. So on this peg generally it doesn't fish very well unless the fish are in this corner. The wind's blowing in there, the sun's in there. Are the fish going to be in there? If they're in there, they're big fish generally. Big fish haven't been showing at Acorn, so all the things are against me in my mind, but I'm just trying to stay positive. I can see a couple of carp which look like they're spawning to me on the far bank. So if the carp start spawning in and no one's catching carp, I've got some maggots with me. I've got some here next to me ready to go, a couple of pints, I've got another couple of pints behind me, and I'll switch to them and just try and catch the silvers. Anything you can sort of approach, because other people won't do that. Right, so there's the all in. So keep you on while we're going, because I'm going to literally not going to do anything at the moment. I'm just going to start 6mm pellet. These are the pellet guys MBs, MB1s they're called, on the band. Could have had him ready really, but because I was chatting to you. And then I'm only going to put 2 6 in there. That's it. I'm going to sit it out for 15 or 20 minutes while I'm watching everybody else and see what happens. I'm not going to leave it too long, because if it's a day for fishing shallow, which it almost certainly will be, I don't want to be feeding too much after everybody else. So I've got my far bank marker lined up. The rig's just swinging in up against the bottom of the slope. Got some back shots really close to the float because of how windy it is. I've got 3 number 8s right next to the float. If I still can't keep it over the spot, then I shall shorten the rig, because fish is so close it won't hurt today. hoping that that won't be the case. So I recently fished an evening match a couple of days ago here at Acorn. Started doing this and I caught really well, but it was an evening, so you know, totally different time of day and stuff. Didn't film it because it rained on me all day, and I was drenched, but I didn't frame in the end. I was on peg 7 and there was lots of better pegs in, so I struggled. Right guys, we're kind of halfway through the match. He's been swinging the method feeder up against the island, and I've had a couple of small 2-pounders. I'm just sort of sticking at it. It's not fast and furious, but I'm having fish. But then I've just hooked this, which is literally torn off, ripping line off the clutch. If it had been on any other method other than fishing the method, I would have said it was a foul looker. It's not a foul looker. It's just an absolute whale. Beautiful, that's what we wanted. So, I'll give you an update in a second on where we are. Let me just sort this fellow out. He's a proper fish, which is what we're looking for. Something a bit more close to 7 or 8 pound than 3 or 4 pound. Well, he's actually foul hooked in the cheek. So maybe he was feeding on the feeder, but got caught like that. 3.7, that's more what I'm after. It's boosted the weight up somewhat from £11 up to 18. So, run you through what's been going on. Hopefully the wind's not too bad. The wind is blowing a hoolie. And I'll show you my little setup while we're here, because I'm not in a rush. But first of all, I've got to cast this out into open water until the little line marker here comes off. So that is a little bit of £2 size 2 elastic, and then that is where I'm clipped up to. And that's to stop me chucking it too far. I'm actually set this to fish down that left hand edge, but what I've done is I've decided to chuck it down the end of the island, so I ain't got to worry about the length, the distance, because I'm going to just go down the end side of the island. But I just still want it to be as accurate and as repetitive as I can. I've got a 6mm pellet on a band. Right, so just pull the elastic round on those little guru bands that I've already done. Just tip it up a little bit. We've got some 1mm pellet and some 3mm pellet. They've both been soaked separately. 1mm pellet and 3mm pellet have been soaked separately, and then I've mixed them together. The 3mm pellets were soaked 2 days ago, and I just found them in my bag, and I gave them a sniff and they weren't too bad. But I thought I want to do some fresh ones up, because, you know, just confidence thing. And then the fresh 1mm that I did are a little bit softer than I wanted them to be. That's just hit the island and bounced right into where we want it to fish anyway. So then it's off, take the line clip off and sink the line. I can just slowly bring the rod back to the right spot and wait. Now you may have noticed that above my feeder was some rig tube. That's carp rig tubing. It's like heavy tungsten impregnated, apparently, rig tubing. Here at Acorn, it's something I do a lot because there's loads of fishery around that island, and when you're up against the island in the shallow water, they just hit your line, and then you get a massive line, but it moves your feeder. So you know you can't. Then you've got to wind in. It's basically you're missing out on fish because you can't keep your feeder in the water long enough. So what I do is I have that little length of tungsten line above the feeder. The feeder can still free run on the line, and actually if I cut the rubber at the top of the feeder so that the feeder actually free runs on the tubing as well. So it's still a safe rig and it's still free running. Everything's still free running as it needs to be for the rules and for fish safety. But that heavy tungsten, what I do is I only just tighten up the line so that I'm actually tightening to the tungsten, not to the feeder, so that gives me like a couple of feet in front of the feeder where the fish can sort of move around the feeder without ever realising that there's any line there and hitting the line and giving me horrible bites or liners or spooking out the swim, which I do in these shallow waters. Yeah, so that is what it was, if you're wondering, and that's how I do it. And then I swing it out underhand to the spot that I want, and I've got it on the clip, and it comes down, and then I just take the clip off, and then each time, if I wind in now without a fish on, I can put the clip on before I wind in. If I catch a fish, I don't mind just flicking it out and putting the clip on. It takes, we're only 13, 14 metres away, so it's not like it's not like I'm casting it 50 yards and then putting the clip on and winding it back 50 yards. It's a brilliant little way of doing it. It's the sort of thing I do on daylight today when the wind's hooning around and you can't put a pole there. You can't fish over there like you want to. Today's a very slow day, so I'm having to leave it in for sort of 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and eventually it's just going. That's what I found. It's not a day for like chucking it in every 2 minutes like it can be on the method feeder. That's it really. That's what we're doing. We've got 18 pound. We're probably way behind everybody else. Can't see what they're doing really. They're too far away. Guy on the bridge pegs, he was only up to 15 pound about 45 minutes ago to an hour ago, and he came walking past me because his top kit came past me on the lake with a fish attached. And it's gone round the other side of the lake now, and he reckons he had 15 pound then. So he's going to definitely be ahead of me on peg 22. But it's early days. I'll give you a time check because I'm not sure myself. It's 2 o'clock dead, so we've been fishing for 2 hours. We're not even halfway through. Like I said we were halfway through and we're not. 2 hours in, we're a third of the way in, we've got 820 pound. I'm not priming any other lines at the minute except for occasionally I'm throwing maggots just here, just past the rod tip there. I'm not going to chuck them in the minute, it's too windy, with a view to just having something to go on later for anything. I'm not really sure if I'll ever go on it or not. If this tip keeps going round, I'll just stick with it. I might later just see if this clip works nicely for another spot on the bank to my right, because if it does, if I can find a spot where it drops on nice, then I can like chuck it there and chuck it there to my right, where when no one's really fished all day, so the peg empty to my right, maybe nick up a few fish, and then I've got margins in the last sort of 2 or 3 hours. Perhaps with 2 hours to go, I'll chuck this down the long margin and see if there's anything having it. And then if I get signs that the fish are having it on this, or there's indications of fish coming to this feeder, then I shall put some of these pellets in on that short pole line that I've primed, that I've plumbed all up, and hopefully catch a few down the margin in the last couple of hours. I haven't had my head up much, but I've got my head up now while I'm talking to you guys, and I can't see anybody bagging. Gentleman here in front of me who I can see on peg 28, he's struggling. We've got quite between us. We've got the end of this lake to ourselves, and we're struggling because this isn't the brilliant end of the lake as I said it wouldn't be. So it's all to play for. I've just got to keep my head and just keep working out what I'm doing. The wind has trashed half of me. The top kits have been blown over, and I'm not bothered to put them back on. I'm just leaving them on the floor because they're safer there. And I'll just go and get them when I'm ready to use them. But at the minute I'm just chucking the method up this point of this island and just letting it go round every now and again. Sometimes it's a 2 pounder and sometimes it's a 6 pounder like it was there, but when I chucked this out I only had 5 pound in the bag, and now I've got 18, so I had 13 pounder in this. So it's by far my most productive thing at the moment, so I'll be a fool to come off it. So we'll leave it there because I've accidentally had the camera on for ages earlier on and filmed a lot of nothing, so I'm running out of batteries and stuff. I'll catch you in a bit. Right guys, it's 3:20. If you can hear me, it'll be a miracle. It's absolutely blowing a hoolie, getting worse and worse and worse. I've had a few fish from over on the point of the island. I got to about 20 pound, just over 20 pound, and then it's been hard. And I've just chucked down that really long line where I originally clipped up this feeder. left to fish, and I had one straight away, a nice one, about 4 or 5 pound. And then I went back out and I've had another one on, but he's come straight off, so not hooked properly, and I'm down there again now, but it wasn't such a good cast, this one. The wind was making it very difficult. It's got to be bang on line, because I'm fishing into the curve. If I'm slightly left or slightly right, then it won't work, it won't be right, and I'm just a little bit away from the island this time, so I'll be surprised if it goes around, but it might surprise me. There might be a few fish in this corner. I've dropped down to a little 4mm pellet in the band instead of a 6mm, just to see what difference that would make. At the moment it's not making a lot of difference, but I'll chuck this down here 4 or 5 times. If it don't go around again, at least I've put some bait down there, and I'll go back out on the point again. I keep toying with the idea of fishing other lines. I'm having to throw it overhand just to get this out to a top kitten one. It's that hard to get bait out in this wind. That's really the only other line I feel like I might be able to fish, or this margin line down to my left in the hole. But I'm really looking to see how they respond to this feed, because I'm going to put the same bait in. I've done a load of those 1mm up, so I'm going to put those in. So I haven't got any. I've not got any edge mix with me. I've run out of edge mix, and I've got to order some, so I'm not going to get any now until next week. And that's assuming that I actually remember to order some. So I thought I'll oversoak some 1mm that I've got lying around that I had from years ago. At least they'll act like a ground bait if I need them to. And I also can use them on the method if the wind gets up, because I expect it to be windy today. But it is mega difficult. Just gonna set this one up again, chuck it back out again. Just try and get the clip in the right place. So hard, even casting a feeder like 10 metres is hard work in this weather. Yeah, so I've got a little 4mm on now. Quite a big hook on, not a big hook, but quite a big, that's better. Put a big gap to it, that's what you want. I'll pull it down, that's where them bands are dead handy on those Guru. That's a Guru pre-tied up length. Jesus wept. It's an absolute miracle if you can hear me. Didn't get there. Didn't commit to that enough. It would have been perfect, but I didn't commit to it. I'm just going to get that off there. I find this is a very simple way to clear your feeder. Just slap it, don't do it too hard, I should break your rod. Very lazy way of doing things. Not advised. Try again. Wind's ever so slightly dropped from what it was a second ago, so maybe we can a bit better that time. Still not perfect, but so what I've got now is I've got the run clipped and the bail arms off, and I'm just letting the line out as I pull the rod back so that I'm not moving the feeder. for it to rip round. I've lost a couple of fish today. Been big on the point of the island there. I've had a couple of fish break me off on a snag. They've run down the bank and there's like a little vegetation. Oh, there we are. Hopefully you got that on the camera. There's a bit of vegetation in the water down there, and they've gone into it, and then the up length's gone. This is fighting weird. It's not really fighting, but I feel like it's a decent fish. When it roared off. Not massive. It's not massive. It's a little 2-pounder. What'll do? Right on the bottom bit, perfect. Right guys, just turned you on just as I hooked a fish. Oh, and I've lost him. It was a small fish, that was. It might not have been a small fish. Snapped the up length and everything, that fish has. Snapped the up length. And pulled everything through there, so it might have been a decent fish that. Right, let's put another up length on. So, hopefully you can hear me over the wind again. We've got 55 pound-ish in the bag, I think. Maybe not quite if I have over clicked, but we've got 50 pound. Seems okay, but I know the guy next to me on my right is definitely beating me. He just come down his edge and started catching on the pole. So I've just fed my edge, with the hope that I can do the same. So I've been switching between the line over across and the line down to my left hand edge, all on the method. I'm just starting to get occasional better fish. That could have been a better fish there as well, but we'll probably never know now. Yeah. I've just started catching occasional better fish. And then what I found is you'll catch a better fish like what we just had there. In fact, I've just had a better fish before I turned the camera on. So I wasn't expecting. It's what you normally get is you get one and then you get a couple of smaller fish. And then you can't get any of the better fish again. And then what you do is you move. That's what's been happening today. You move to the other line and you catch a better fish straight away, and then you get a couple of smaller fish, and then it's no good again. And I'm having to do that a lot today. So that's been the pattern. The fella to my right now has definitely started catching down his head. So I've just put a load of bait in down to my edge. I'm just gonna give him that for free. Let him have that for half an hour. Then I'm gonna go down and top it with a little tiny bit and go over the top of that and see what we can catch. Oops, there we are. Hopefully that's not damaged the feeder. It just got sort of caught on the bank and then plopped in. Yeah, so there we are, £50, let's call it £50. Well off the pace, I think, but you just never know what size of the fish the other people have been catching. We've still got about an hour and a half to go, so you know I could put another £50 in the bag in that hour and a half without no bother, I would have thought, if things go my way. But then I could also catch nothing, it's just how it is. I was hoping I was going to get a fish on the camera there for you, live, but it didn't happen. She's catching them really quickly now down here, but they are small. She's catching all like squeakers and stuff. So I think I'll catch them as quick as it if I can just get these better ones, keep these odd better ones coming. I mean, it could all be academic, they could be absolutely empty down the other end and we could be fighting out for last and last but one in section, who knows, but at the moment I feel like I'm behind. So what more can we do? Little bang on the tip there. We're about to get something then. There's quite a nice little spot on the point of the island there, so I'd expect it to go quite quickly if it's going to go. Goes. Not a big fish, but he's a fish. That's what I say, you get a couple of decent fish and then you get a couple of little fish and then you have to move, but you don't want to move too soon because you really want, I think what you're doing is letting them fish, or you cut there, that one, you're letting them fish clean out the bait that you've put in for your feeder, because obviously there's plenty there, then by the time you go in it's almost a clean bottom. A little £2. You can go 3. Let's see what the right way says. 2. Probably going to switch nets now. More just to make it easier to get it out of the water. It's only like £50 now. Don't want to work any harder than I need to. I can always come back to it. I know I can stick another £10 in it if I get stuck. So that'll be a nice situation to be in, but I don't feel like that's going to happen, but you just never know. I'm going to go back on this spot again. I feel like it's got another fish in it before I need to move. I'm going to start making my moves a bit earlier. Before I was sort of doing 2 or 3 chucks without a fish. I won't get a fish on this chuck. If I'm happy that the chuck's got in the right place and that I've packed the feeder right and everything's worked right, then I won't mess about sitting on it. It's a little bit away from the island, to be fair, so it might not go around at all, that one. It's going to give him a short while to prove himself. If you don't go round, I might chuck it one more time just because it wasn't the best chuck. I feel like it's not so bad that I shouldn't give it a chance. And there we are, it's on. Small fish, I think. pan that a little bit. If you come away from the line a little bit, you get like little tension, little stockies, this sort of fish. I'm good at counting for myself now though. Just getting to that time of, he's pulled out. Yeah, that was a little stocky sort of fish. It's unusual like QM1 to pull out of a fish, but it was a small one, little tiny thing. So we'll be back out there again because that's still another fish. Right guys, there's half an hour to go. I've wasted half an hour faffing about trying to catch down the edge with a pole. Just weren't happening. So I'm back on the feeder first. I first put down the left hand side, I've had one. 4 or 5 pounder. So it's putting me close to 70 now. Not quite 70, I don't think we're close to. I'll just keep rotating around with different spots now. I'm going to drop this one down to my left hand margin now and just try and catch one tight from the margin. In fact, I'm going to put it in my left hand margin where I've been feeding. See if I can nick one over the top of where I've been trying to catch him on the pole. But I couldn't. Just to see if there's better presentation or different presentation on 4-1. Right guys, that's all over. I weighed 83, which was about £8 more than I had on the clicker, but I had £3 of silvers, and I think I must have missed a carp on them when I was clicking, but it ain't made a lot of difference really. I think I finished 4th. I'll have to check, make sure that Chris Fox beat me, but I think Chris Fox would have just nicked it off me, third place off me. Not too bad from peg 26 really. It's not a bet, it's not a flyer. There's fish down there in that corner, but the wind has made it impossible to present how I wanted to present. And if I hadn't bought the feeder rod with me today, I would have been in a lot of trouble, because the feeder rod has got me out of a mess really, and I've been able to present with a feeder rod. But the fact that I'm catching on a feeder rod shows I probably could have caught a bit quicker on the method. Sorry, on a pole, the float and stuff, but you just can't get it out there and present it. I bought some maggots from the shop before I drew, and then I had a couple of points, and I was going to throw them down the middle all day and just use that as like a pick up bits and bobs on, and you couldn't. I had to throw overhand as hard as I could to get to top kitten 1. I never even went on that line. There were some fish blowing on it at the end actually, but I think they were silvers. The gentleman next to me, I forgot his name. He's won that section, and because he was flying down his edge, I've gone down my edge for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes and messed about, and I couldn't make it happen. But after speaking to him, he fished ground bait and maggots, and I didn't bring any edge mix with me because I got up this morning and realised I'd run out of edge mix, which was quite inconvenient. So I didn't have any ground bait with me, and I tried putting pellets down there and went over that, but they didn't want it. And I've just messed about 45 minutes and just wasted my time, and that 45 minutes is probably worth 2 or maybe even 3 carp on the method. It weren't fast, the method. You have to chuck it 2 or 3 times sometimes before you get one, but you know, that's 2 or 3 fish, they're averaging £5 a piece, that's £15. That puts me straight up into, you know, 90 odd pound and probably 3rd. So these little decisions, they cost you, but you don't know at the time. I mean, you can't ignore it when the guy 2 pegs to your right is absolutely emptying it down the edge. He's come from literally last in section to winning a section in 2 hours. It's just long, you know, it's just gone off. Fair play to him, he's fished it well and he's done the right thing. So, and I've tried to replicate that and it's just not worked for me, but there we are. So that's probably my last. There's one more round of the league to go, but I don't think I'll be fishing it because I'm going away with my wife for a birthday. I think I'll have to get a stand-in to fish it for me. I'll try and find out where I am, but I feel like that result, 4th, has put me out of it totally now. I don't think I can frame, so I'll be, you know, just outside the framing places, I think, but I'll have to check that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry if I didn't get much fish today, and sorry if there's loads of wind, I don't know yet, but I didn't get a lot of fish on camera, even though I've had 80 odd pound of fish. just timing again when I put the cameras on. I'm having a bit of a bad luck run at the minute, and every time I put the cameras on I'm not catching, whereas it seemed like a month ago every time I put the cameras on I'd catch one. So it's just random, innit? But there we go, catching a bit.